Hi, and welcome to the next episode of the Sustainability Network. I'm Shruti Harihara Subramanian, and I'm the founder of GoliSodaStore.com. Over the last few days, we had a great opportunity to meet many founders and partners that we've been partnering with in the last few years at Goli Soda, and we've got to know so much about their brand, their business. But what was amazing to know was what held us together was our passion towards sustainability and our love and our dream to see a cleaner and better planet. So today we are meeting two people who are not just partners in real life but partners in business as well. We will be meeting Nisha and Vasanth, who are the founders of Ariro Toys. Of late, thanks to my 1-year-old baby, Ariro has become one of my most favorite brands in Goli Soda. In fact, this is a teether that I picked up for her. This was one of the first things I picked up for my daughter. So Ariro, I'm sure Nisha and Vasanth will tell you more about how Ariro toys are not just sustainable, but they are kind of tools for a child's early stage in life, for their development. And it'll be great to know more about the toys, and you'll know the difference why Ariro is probably the first option to go to for sustainable toys. So let's welcome. We are waiting to see them. Viewers, we'll be happy to answer all your please shoot out any questions that you have. Anything to deal with early child development, sustainable parenting. I'm sure Nisha is a great expert in that. So we'll be happy to answer your questions. So welcome, Nisha and Vasant.
Hi,
Hi,
Shruti.
hi.
Hi.
And nice to meet
Pleasure.
you.
It's a pleasure to
Pleasure.
meet you too.
And with you, we will be, with the two of you, will be ending this session of the Sustainability Network, and we'll be coming back soon with more founders and more partners from Goli Soda. So we are all waiting to know more about what Ariro toys are all about, because I don't
Definitely.
like to call them toys because I think they do more than just that. So it'll be better to hear from you about what Ariro is about.
Yes. So Ariro toys, I would describe them as learning aids actually. So basically, when we talk about learning aids, a lot of people tend to ignore a particular age group. They think the learning begins only after 3 years, and the lots of toys that we find in the market are specifically marked only for 3 years and above. So 0 to 3 years as an age group has been neglected a lot, and you'll be surprised to know that as for the fact, most of the brain development happens between the age of 0 to 6 years, and out of that, 0 to 3 years plays a very vital part. So basically, we started Ariro when we were scouting toys for our little one. She's 4 now. So when she was born, I am a very Montessori mom, and husband here, I mean, my husband over here
Same
is also
here.
very inclined.
Yes.
So we were scouting for Montessori toys, and it was very sad to notice that in the market there were very limited, choices that we had, and even what that was available were all imported, and they were very expensive to go for,
Plastics.
and plastics exactly. So
And she
Yeah.
had this atopic dermatitis, kind of allergy. And
Okay.
when we wanted to give her specific, the safe materials, and we were surprised to know that there was very few. And
sorry.
so,
Yeah,
so
please
when we
continue.
found some toys from US, it was very expensive. So
Yes.
what we did is we made hired a carpenter and made a few toys for our own baby. So it's this part of the country we have this neem wood, the best neem wood with a lot of medicinal value. We used to brush our teeth earlier. Our ancestor used to
Yes,
brush our
yes,
teeth, where
yes.
we thought that we have an opportunity to use these woods to make toys. and that's when we went deeper into it and converted these toys into our toys. When we made it, we had friends of the same age group who also wanted these toys, so we thought, why not venture it out into
And to add to Vasanth's thing, there was also a point where we were finding a lot of toys were purposeless. So each
Yes.
toy must have a purpose. That's one of our, mottos that we have at Ariro. So that's when we came up with the idea of starting our own brand for, to be very specific and give purposeful toys for children.
No, that's why, as I was telling our viewers, you guys are my favorite brand right now, because even I have been reading up a lot on Montessori, even when I was pregnant, and they say it starts from there. Your child literally
Yes,
learns
exactly.
from that time. And I had a friend, thankfully, who was guiding me through all that. So reading up more and more about that, and as you said, it was quite shocking to see there was hardly anything in the market that is suitable for as aids to for your child. So something as simple as the mobile that you put over the crib.
Yes.
According to Montessori, you can explain, Nisha. I'm
Yeah,
sure.
in fact, that was one of the first toys that I was scouting for her. And I
Yeah.
was shocked that not even one was available. Like, I specifically wanted the wooden mobile and to be in a specific way,
And
basically,
can
when the
you tell
child.
our viewers why Ariro
Yeah, sure.
mobiles are different? Yeah.
Yes. So basically, for a child who's just born, whatever they see only contrasting colors. They can't take in overwhelming things, and they have to see objects that move around, which will help them understand visual objects, and it will also help them in 3D recognition. So when I was scouting for those kind of toys, there were actually nothing in the market. And how I started was I made my own mobile for her with papers, which didn't
Wow.
last long. So that's when we started making wooden mobiles. And basically, when the child looks at the mobile and tries to communicate with the mobile, for them it is kind of they're going to have a complete learning experience. Yes, so they're going to have their
And also,
meta skills
there is
develop.
something that the images that or the kind of characters that are there should be
it's
truly
kind of
ones that
Exactly.
are flying on air or
Yeah, so
something like that, right?
yeah, they should not be exposed to fantastical stuff. So what
Hmm.
they see should be realistic. So in our mobiles we have objects that a child would find in the sky, so we don't
Hmm.
include objects like animals or like lions and hippos that basically they
Yeah,
find in land and not in the sky.
yeah.
So we're very particular about that, and the colors that we use are also contrasted in such a way that it attracts the attention of a newborn child. It is not overwhelming for them, and it is very calming and soothing. And
And
usually,
are they natural colors? Do you use natural colors?
yes,
Yeah,
yes.
vegetable lacquering. It's made out of fruits and vegetables. So
So
when
that's also important when a child
yeah,
plays
yeah,
with, forget the mobile, but any other toy,
Any
if
other
it
yeah,
has
toy.
yeah,
color.
because infants and toddlers tend to put each and everything into their mouth. So what
Yes.
happens is, so we'll have to, when we use colors, we'll have to use it organic or the child safe colors. So we use lacquering, a vegetable lacquer. The colors extracted out of vegetables and fruits. So they tend to put each and everything into their mouth.
Yes,
So
we know that. Yeah. So that's the other amazing thing about Ariro. So one side is that, and one side there's this overwhelming uh, uh, thing of plastics all around us. And of course, you were saying that your child was allergic to that. But even if you take on an environmental side to it, plastics are obviously not great even for the planet. And there's this other thing of plastics where most of the toys that come are actually recycled plastic, which is actually a lower
Yeah.
grade of plastic and more like downcycle. So the quality and the kind of chemicals that are there in it are totally unsafe for children. So that's why I was very, very excited to know, like even during this lockdown, I know if not anything, I know I can always go pick up an Ariro toy for my child to keep her occupied. So
thank
even
you.
something like these teethers, you're forever seeing, maybe silicon to an extent is okay, but again, plastic teethers and things like this. So can you even talk about the kind of shapes, the thought that goes behind the shapes of the teether? It's not just a random ring or something to it. There is again a thought to it, right?
Yeah,
In terms of
exactly.
skill.
So again, it's the same philosophy, because we don't want children to, randomly pick up objects and put it in their mouth. So our teethers are specifically designed, those things that they will actually eat or put it into their mouth. So we have them shaped in fruits, vegetables, then treats. The one you're holding right now is a gingerbread man. So that is something that, we are showing them from their very young age. Only things that look like this can be, put into your mouth.
Yes.
And the other
Yes.
ones are just plain shapes that they won't get, they won't mistake it for something else. So most of the teethers that we found online were shaped like a cat, or it was shaped like a bear. So it gives them a very wrong idea as to what they put into their mouth, because when a child sees it, they don't see just the material in which that we are providing them, but also the design of the material. So once they start recognizing a particular thing at a very young age for something else, it's total confusion from them. So we have to be
Yes, yes,
very clear as to what we give them. We have to set things right. This is this and
yes,
this is that. So that is very important for a 0 to 3 year old child.
And when
yes,
teether is concerned, the material, since it's a neem wood teether, it's antibacterial and antifungal in nature,
yes,
and it helps to boost immunity as well. It's act as a natural
yes,
immunity booster now. And
yes.
the material used for the teether is naturally processed for 6 to 7 years. There's no chemical added
Oh,
to it for the processing. So
okay.
neem, as a wood, it has got this, the basics where when it is naturally seasoned, the medicinal value of it doesn't lose over the years.
Okay. No, so these are so Indian, and I like that fact because again, even nowadays when you look at books for children or everything is so westernized. I'm not saying anything
Yeah.
is wrong with that, but there is a lot more that a child has to know about their space,
Our
and
own culture.
uh, being local is the most sustainable thing as well. So neem, I mean, who better
Exactly.
than India to talk about neem? So having neem as the base for toys or teethers for kids, I think you can't get more sustainable than that. So again, one more reason why I like your product. So can you talk about the people behind it? I know you work with local craftspeople, and again, talking about sustainability, it's about providing jobs and opportunities of
Yes.
and as people are now talking about being vocal about local and stuff like that, but working with local craftspeople, that itself is an amazing part of being sustainable. So could you talk about the people behind the makers of such things?
So what happened was, I come from a background where I did my master's in social work. So
Okay.
so when we wanted to start this, basically we wanted to identify the talents in rural areas. So we went traveling interiors of Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, and Andhra Pradesh, and we found a lot of craftsmen who can, were good with wood, and where we thought, we should train them, though the concept is new for them. We should train them and try and get them to make our toys. And for now we are doing like 60% of the toys from them, because 40%, like, we have come into the furniture segment where they are not still equipped to make a furnitures. Other than that, the toy segment, if you take 60% of the toys,
Toys
that's
is completely.
completely from them. Like a complete toy segment is made out of the rural artisans.
And all our toys are basically handmade. So hence,
Yeah.
it's like it's been like touched and felt and been like
Yes.
passionately made by someone who's been caring for this industry for a very long time. Because all
Yes.
these artisans who we've identified, they've been doing this for generations. It's not just they
Yes.
popped into this business overnight. So
Yeah.
they kind of have the passion towards it. It's so sad that after the Chinese invasion into the toy sector, all these people were like affected drastically. So those skills have been like slowly vanishing, and they've not been having a good livelihood. So all these toys that we make them, actually many of them, it's like it's become a great thing for them. They enjoy making it. Other than the livelihood factor, they also enjoy the factor that they're making it for children. And when we explain our philosophies to them, they're even more impressed. They love what they're doing. So it starts with love there.
In fact,
No, it's so beautiful as opposed to all these mass-produced things that you see today. Here, it's almost like I feel whenever somebody gives something for my child, if they are handmade, like some people actually take the effort in this day and age also to stitch a jabla and give my
Yeah.
daughter, stitch a bag, or stitch a quilt. You know, those uh, that activity that goes into it itself is an act of love. And I think when you're working with these people, it's not just that act of love, but it's also you're preserving a cultural heritage. Because I'm sure if we are not providing them that kind of, you know, employment, maybe the next generation might not feel confident or proud to take over that craft. So I
Exactly.
think that that's another thing to look into as a sustainable business. And it's, I think our viewers should understand that it's a 360 degrees of to look into as a sustainable business.
Definitely.
So what's new coming up in I know with Ariro? What are the new products that are in line?
so now this COVID situation has given us an opportunity to develop a lot of, to protect the work from home environment. To minimize their electronics use for
Yes.
this specific age group. So we have come up with this, the engaging activity like pickler, triangle, stepping stool, and now
The
that
learning
learning
tower.
tower, and those are the lines we are working on. The 3 toys is already launched now, so we are planning to do 3 more every month. So these we our thought process is more on protecting the work from home environment.
Adapting to the work from home culture, because our daughter, we are seeing it on a regular basis. Keeping them occupied right now is a task, and especially for
Yes.
parents who work, it is very difficult. So that's the reason
Yes.
we're coming up with concepts that will keep them occupied while the parents work, with minimal
Yeah.
interference from the parents. We want the child to work by themselves,
Independent.
to be more independent.
I think
And
that's the overall concept of Montessori as well, right? To
yeah,
create,
exactly.
treat the child as an independent individual, and develop
Definitely.
that
And
aspect.
and for them to do it at home, where basically they are, in our culture, we basically pamper the child a lot. We do a lot of things for them, even though they're capable of doing. So to break that all of a sudden is a little bit a difficult thing, especially the situation is as such. So that's the reason we are coming up with more indoor play things for them, which will keep them physically more active, because taking them to a play area right now is not
Yes.
a option. So all these things will
Yes.
cater to their physical needs, the gross motor skills and everything that would be addressed too.
We're working on a project called Play Gym where they'll be physically fit as well.
Okay, that's interesting. So that, in fact, that was one of my questions I wanted to. Usually, I ask at the end of every talk. I ask the founders, what has the lockdown taught you on the professional side and personally? So I guess you answered the professional side of the question. It's made you
Yeah.
think into developing newer products. But personally, how is it to be for the two of you, especially since you both are partners in business as well? I mean, I would like to ask you, even otherwise, how is it to work as a husband and wife couple? Even we are sort of a couple like that as well. We are Goli Soda is also a husband and wife couple. So how is it, and how is it being generally, personally? What has been the lessons that you have taken back during this period of lockdown?
So we have a lot of other things to do at home because we have set up a small vegetable garden and we are into aviculture as well. So all
Oh,
that has
lovely.
given us a lot of time, and we breed a few birds which is getting extinct from the nature. Like there's a bird called Amazon magnum. It is an endangered
Okay.
species. So a few aviculturists across the globe have taken it up, breeding those species, bringing back to the
Okay.
reality. So for that passion of ours, this COVID has given us a lot of time for them to get enough attention from us directly. We have people to take care.
That's great.
Right now we can. Other than that, working as an husband and wife, where we get to spend a lot more time away from home as well, and It's interesting, like
And how do
using
you split the task as a husband and wife couple? I'm
so
sure
we
the
use
Montessori side comes from
Yeah.
Nisha, I'm sure. But
yeah, that's
otherwise,
right.
how do you split the task, or when there is a conflict, how do you resolve it?
So there's a
Besides a fight.
clear line.
Yes, our departments are very different. So I
So the
take care of the
products.
designing, the products aspect of it, and he takes care of the business side of it. So I think the overlaps are very minimal. So
So it happens at times as well. So so we are trying to,
And I'm sure your daughter must be the first tester of all your products as well.
definitely yes, and she
So
loves
it's a
doing that.
truly a family business.
Yeah, it was started for her. So yes,
she calls herself as a CEO of Ariro.
Yeah,
Ariro.
of course. No doubt. So, what tips do you give? I mean, of course, picking up an Ariro toy would be the best tip for parents who are now having children at home and homeschooling. But Nisha, with your experience with Montessori, what tips do you give parents? Of course, you can't. The parents might have different age group children, but on a general note, what would you advise parents during this very ambiguous time in our life?
Yeah, I think keeping children engaged is one of the biggest questions in every parent's mind. So to keep them engaged, I think we should, make them more involved in the activities that are happening on an everyday basis at home. So if a mom or a dad is working in the kitchen, they should take the child along with them and, maybe give them small tasks. For example, we've been giving our daughters tasks like, chopping soft vegetables with a butter knife or pouring water into the water bottles. So all those small things that they would be able to do and clearly define their roles. You are expected to do these things. So you will have to do these things because you will have to help everybody around at home. So that way, most of the children have this thing at this particular age that I'm bored. So they easily come up saying, I'm bored, give me something to do. That's because we've
Yes,
always
yes.
been giving them only activities that we buy, like a toy or something that we buy from a shop, or some activity or screen. So we just put them in front of a TV or give them a phone. So involving them in everyday chores is the first thing that we can do, to solve this question of boredom. So that is one thing that we can help them with, and also clearly explain to the children when the parents are working that it's their space, and the children, they have to find something to work by themselves. And I'm also aware that most of the schools have started online classes. So I
Yes.
think children are also falling into that rhythm of, attending classes and keeping themselves busy. So that question is like, getting minimized day by day. What activity do I give my child to do? And especially this 0 to 3 category, there's going to be always this thing coming up because they're not in any schools or something. So the parents have to be very innovative as to what to give them. So I think this
I completely get that. In fact, every little item at home is now some sort of changed into some sort of activity. Like right now, I have a cardboard box with cloth in it. Trying every little thing to figure out how to keep a 1-year-old toddler engaged. So I
yes, and
completely get it.
And the main thing that we have to understand as parents is it's frustrating for us as adults who have come across a lot of things and we know how to keep ourselves occupied. But for very small children who don't have the knowledge or don't have the experiences, and certain children are not even ready to help themselves. So for them, it's going to be even more frustrating. So I think for parents that you have to understand that first and see from where they are and to answer their questions patiently and to, respond to all their activities very patiently. I know it's very difficult because as a mom, even I'm struggling. When something goes wrong, my immediate reaction would be like, what has happened here?
Yes.
But to calm ourselves down and take a step back
Yes.
and, give them what they really require at that particular time is very important.
So finally, what does sustainability mean to you?
Yeah, to me, sustainability is something, we don't take too much from the environment. At the same time, we know how to reuse it and, save it for the next gen as well. So that's one thing which we are majorly focusing with Ariro toys. We don't want it to be the toy for just that particular child, but it has to be passed on from one generation to the other, minimalizing the wastage, or even trees matter, right? Be it plastic that we
Yes.
say we're throwing it away and it's going to harm the environment, but trees matter too. Cutting them down and making a
Yes.
toy, it should be more strong for them to give it to the next generation. So that's one point that we look at sustainability as.
And the other thing is, when it comes to sustainability, when we use these woods, especially, there is this, myth about, cutting the greens, cutting the trees and using. The trees do have an age. They have a death rate. They are put to right use now, when we use these things. Like the neem was not useful. They were one of the major contributors. Like you see the forest fires and all happening abroad or locally. It's because we don't put the trees after they age to the proper use when they lose that. So they do age. They also have a age limit. So we'll have to cut them at one point of time to put them into right
So what
use.
is the sourcing process for this wood?
So you have these, these woods available, especially the neem from Tamil Nadu is medicinal, and it is available in abundance. And you have these woods already been cut off and they've been used as a furniture long back in places like Karakudi or Madurai, where they don't the craftsman doesn't use these woods anymore. So they go on all these seasoned wood doesn't require, they don't use it for furnitures anymore. They're not desirable for furnitures anymore, the neem wood.
Yeah.
So we try to use them for the toys. So once it's seasoned well, it's easy to work with itself by hand to make toys. It's much easier for us to make these toys.
And it's a much safer option as well. The more the wood ages,
So
the safer it
does
is
a
for the
whole
child.
tree is it being cut, or parts of the tree is being cut for this process? How does it work? Would you know?
So once the tree is old, like and if there is a age for factor of 10 years, only the tree can be alive. So after 10 years, naturally the trees will be cut from the forestry department.
And it is being done with a license. Like nobody else can go and cut trees.
Okay.
So we procure them only from people who've been licensed to do that.
And it's put to use
so that's
this
a good
way.
thing. The viewers will know, good to know the source of where the product comes from. It's truly legal.
Yes.
It's truly safe for the planet. So even as you said, even if it's trees, we're cutting trees. It's again from it's a safer way for the planet to
In
use
fact, a lot
this
of our
than
customers have come up with this question. They've asked us, you're saying you're being eco-friendly and you're being sustainable. What sustainability is it if you're going to go and cut a tree? So, but the thing is, we can't do that. Like if I see a neem tree in front of my house, I'm not allowed to go and touch the tree. They're going to throw me in jail for that. So we actually get it only from licensed people who cut trees, as Vasanth was saying, those aged trees that can't live any longer. Because if we're just going to just leave them there to be without their leaves or anything, they're going to catch fire and they're going to start a forest fire. So it's those kind of wood that we procure actually.
So that's great. Thank you, Nisha and Vasanth. It's been a very interesting and an eye-opener sort of conversation. And for the viewers, I will assure you, if you're going to meet a newborn, these Ariro toys are probably the best things you can gift a new mom, because clothes and other sorts of toys, a new mom is going to get tons and dozens, but these kinds of practical toys are the ones that we new moms are always itching to have, or even older moms right now with the kids at home. If you have a birthday coming up for a child and you can't meet the child, I think these are going to make great gifts and will be well remembered. And as they said, they're very long lasting. So if you're picking up for your first child, you can probably use it for the second child or pass it on to your niece, nephew, or a friend. It is truly sustainable, and I can't guarantee that much more. So thank you so much, Nisha and Vasanth, and we are looking forward for your newer lines of toys
Sure,
as well.
Shruti. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. And the series that you've done was wonderful. I've been like following it up every day, and it was really,
Thank you.
an eye opener. Like the yesterday session that I was watching was truly an eye opener for me. So it has been very interesting and informative, Shruti.
Thank you, thank you. And we are
Thank you.
hoping to have more of such series as well. And this
Definitely.
is a good time where we felt actually with more people at home right now, there is more, and the way the world has taken a complete different turn, it has made us all a little bit more aware of our actions. Somebody was saying many things that we were taking granted. Now, even if we are touching something, now we have to be aware of it, that touch.
Exactly.
What are we touching? How are we washing our hands? So every step or every breath that we are taking, this virus has made us aware of. So this also has opened our eyes to understand the kind of harm we have done to the planet. So we felt this is a good time for people to, understand what sustainability is. Making small
I agree.
shifts will actually make a big difference to the planet. So that's the reason why we wanted to do this series, and and it's an eye opener for us. Even though we've partnered for so long, it's, for me personally, it's a good way to meet all of you, because being a filmmaker and sometimes traveling a lot, hardly at home, I leave everything to my team to take care of the business. So this is a good time to meet our partners and say hello and
Definitely.
get to know your brand better as well. So thank you
Thank
so
you.
Yes,
much.
Shruti.
Bye
Thanks a lot.
bye.
Pleasure,
Thanks a
pleasure.
lot. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Bye.
Bye.
So thank you all for watching this Sustainability Network. We will be back soon with a new session with new founders of sustainable enterprises. This has been, as I told Nisha and Vasanth as well, this has been a good eye opener for me, even though I have worked with these brands for several years. To go into the details of what their brand is about, their values, has truly opened my eyes, and I hope it has to you as well. We at Goli Soda, we don't want to take the word sustainability or eco-friendly, organic, and these terms for granted. We truly want to tell people that if we are sustainable, we are truly sustainable. We will look into where the product comes from, how it is made, is it fair priced, as good as we can get to make this planet a better place. So thank you all for watching, and we'll be back soon with the next session, and we'll keep you posted on that. Do follow us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, to know our updates. Do visit us at www.golisodastore.com. Chennai people, I know this next 2 weeks we are back into lockdown, but don't worry. We will still make sure that you get your essentials delivered to your place. Do call our customer care number if you have any problems, or just call us and we will make sure that any product that you need reaches your home during this tough period. Stay safe and stay sustainable. Thank you. Bye.